Good morning, guys. So now we have come down for some breakfast. This is in our hotel, and they have some basic items here like coffee, tea, scrambled eggs, bacon, some fruits. And now we've started for the Dalton Highway journey. We did our breakfast this morning, and basically now we are set out in our rental vehicle to go to the local business from where we are going to be renting the large SUV that's fit to be driven on the Dalton Highway. So it was about 10 miles from our hotel, and it's around 7:45 a.m. in the morning, and we are actually driving up there. So, guys, we have finally reached the local business. It's called Arctic Outfitters. That's where we had rented the SUV from, which we were going to drive on the Dalton Highway. So now we are just parking in their parking lot. So finally, guys, we're on the route to Dalton Highway and onward to Arctic Circle. This is the big SUV that we rented from Arctic Outfitters. And after finishing all the formalities and paperwork and getting a know-how of how to drive this vehicle, all the safety precautions, first aid, the spare tire, all that stuff, we've finally gotten on the road and on the way to Dalton Highway.
We're about to enter the Dalton Highway. This is the start of the Dalton Highway, Route 11.
So now we are entering the Dalton Highway, and as you can see, the road suddenly becomes a little rough, and it's not as paved and as well done as how it was until now. This is all gravel roads, and that's what we were advised before we started driving on the Dalton Highway. And because of that reason, a lot of the regular rental car companies like Enterprise, Avis, or other companies do not allow their vehicles to be driven on the Dalton Highway at this time. You have to rent special vehicles to be driven on this highway because of the road conditions and, of course, the weather conditions. So guys, finally we reached the entrance to the Dalton Highway and we took a picture here. Driving on Dalton.
Very foggy. The visibility is quite less. So we're driving at 30 miles an hour. Coming up south.
So initially, guys, when we were starting to drive on the Dalton Highway, there was a lot of foggy conditions that we experienced, which was a little difficult, and we were a little worried. But as you can see now, things have gotten a little bit better, and the weather seems to be much better than what it was until now, and it's definitely much more sunny outside, but the roads are still not the greatest. As we continued our journey on the Dalton Highway, again, we basically noticed that it was very few vehicles. For stretches it was just our SUV on the road, so there was nobody in front of us, there was nobody behind us, which definitely felt great. But again, we had to be very careful while driving because of the road conditions and the weather conditions, which were erratic. We were driving at a speed of 35, 40, 45 at the most. So, guys, as we were driving on the Dalton Highway, we started noticing that onto the right side, there was this huge pipeline that was running parallel to the Dalton Highway, and this was basically the Trans-Alaskan Pipeline. It's about 800-mile long, if I'm not mistaken, and basically conveys oil all the way from Prudhoe Bay, which is the northernmost part. And as we continued driving on the Dalton Highway, we kept seeing this huge Alaskan pipeline right next to the highway, which was pretty cool. Again, you can get a closer glimpse of the Alaskan pipeline right here.
So one of the important functions of this car is that it comes equipped with the CB radio. That's the only form of communication with the traffic on Dalton Highway, both southbound and northbound. Also, if we are stopped on the side, on the shoulder, or we are taking, coming back on the road, then we have to notify the traffic through the radio. Northbound Ford SUV trying to overtake Alaska West Express truck on the left.
We are now approaching the Yukon River Camp, which is a stop on the way to the Arctic Circle signpost. And you can see we've turned into the parking lot. It's pretty basic and ordinary, nothing fancy. So this serves as a pit stop for a lot of truckers or people who are driving on the Dalton Highway, because unfortunately there aren't many rest areas or stops here. This is the restaurant from the inside. They have a small cafeteria where they serve some drinks and basic food items, and also a gift store. They've maintained everything very well though. It's a very clean facility.
So that's the place where we use the restroom. They have some tea, coffee, hot chocolate and stuff available. They also have a gas station right here. So if you want to like top up your gas in the car, then you can also do that. The way to do that is you have to give them your credit card. They'll hold it. You have to pump the gas and then give them the receipt, and then they will charge the credit card with that amount. So this is the only gas station you will find between the start of the Dalton Highway and until the Coldfoot actually.
This was the gas pump, and again the gas is extremely expensive here. So now we've started our journey again to the Arctic Circle sign. We were there at the Yukon River Camp for about 15-20 minutes. We did not get anything to eat, just used the restrooms, filled some gas, and we also bought some souvenir items there. So we're now just a few minutes, I believe a couple of minutes away from the Arctic Circle sign. Finally, we've reached this destination that we had dreamt of. The weather definitely was much better now versus the start of our journey. And you can actually see the Arctic Circle signage right here. We have to make a right into this little lane, and that's where the sign is.
So here we are, finally made it to the Arctic Circle. The temperature is amazing out here. It's actually much better than even Anchorage or Fairbanks. Most pleasant.
We've finally stepped foot inside of the Arctic Circle, which feels great.
So this is just a small pathway they have made with this sign off of the Dalton Highway. So it's like a right turn off the Dalton Highway to come take pictures of this sign. There's also restrooms out here. Don't know what the condition would be, but there are restrooms available. And then there is this small deck where they have some information about the Arctic region.